Right, everyone, let's talk about ninja. But here we go. Zen and the Samurai Sword out now, links below. Okay, I'm going to show you how we get to this picture. But while we talk about it, what we're going to do is talk about ninja themselves and how they hide. Now, I'm also going to tell you about the artist and everything that's going on here, so stick with it. But basically, links will be in the description below. Right, ninja hiding, okay? Ninja hiding. This is a problem. We know for a fact that the ninja said they had to cover their face with their hands, their arms. So it would have been higher than this. So you see in this picture, he's starting to get the hands and everything there. It would have historically been higher, but obviously I wanted the artist to show the face and everything. But we know from the idea that they have to hide their face that we actually know that they didn't wear masks, especially in a certain period. So, and what you'll see in a minute is the different mudra, or the different hand symbol, if you like, or hand gesture, which way they were to make. Now, we didn't know what this mudra was. We didn't know what this hand gesture was, and it was found for me by Monk Yamamoto in Japan. I'll jump around in my conversation just simply because I'm going to follow the artist as well. So here, the scene is that a ninja is hiding at night. It comes from the Bansenshukai, which means the Book of Ninja. Okay, guys, so or the many rivers that come into one. So what you'll need to do is go there, get yourself a copy. Again, just my name's Antony Cummins. Book of Ninja is out there. So, and this scene is from there, and it's how a ninja has to cover their face and hide with their hands in this certain hidden mudra and say a certain chant, which is represented by Sanskrit, okay? Sanskrit, which is the Indian language, or the Indian writing system that comes from Buddhism. Remember, Buddhism and Indian tradition absolutely are all over Japan. But what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to quickly show you the artist. So this is the artist page, but I'll zoom in on his website as well. So here you go, guys, here we are. This is the artist himself, but so please have a look at him, and I'm going to put the links in below, so it'll be linked for you to go over to that website, so you won't have to type it in. I will do it for you, but it's all in the description. And if you don't want to buy a book of mine, could you please buy me a coffee? A couple of dollars here and there is excellent. That really works. Links again below. So again, this brings us back to the fact that the ninja probably didn't use masks. We obviously don't know that. The first images we get of ninja are in the 1670s. Well, to be honest, I'm going to be honest here, I don't know off by heart what is the first date of the first image of a ninja. It's really difficult because we're talking about one that is absolutely identified as shinobi no mono. Not just shinobi, because shinobi can mean infiltrator. It can mean burglar, cat burglar. It doesn't matter. But shinobi no mono is without doubt the version used for a military shinobi. So you do sometimes get shinobi bito, which is, or shinobi hito, which is shinobi person. And again, you find that in the text, but we can't guarantee that is a military position. And what you are thinking of, guys, as a shinobi no mono is the military position. That's 100% what you're thinking about. So the first images, I know there's an image which is owned by Nakashima Sensei. And that is just them dressed in kimono, just normal. And they're actually in crimson, bizarrely. And if you know my channel, it's because I picked crimson. Not because of that, but that's what they're in. There is another one, which is from a painting, which has them just in fact, bizarrely, the painting of the shinobi looks more like the guards in the background here. Not the Ashigaru helmet, but what they're wearing, than the one in the foreground. But we also have another image that comes of a man training, and he's got the classic Iga Bakamahon, the crunch-up trousers, and he's also got a top on. Again, I think he's in green and pink, or green and red, depending on, obviously the colour changes as you photograph the image. So this guy here is as close as we can get him to what that image represents. But that is a 16, 17, 1800 image, basically. So we just don't know exactly when it was from, which is a problem. But it means that we don't know what the Sengoku period ninja actually looked like. We just don't know. But we can gather it from the early Edo period explanations. Now, let me explain that. Basically, the Sengoku period was up until the 1600s, roughly. Basically, the wars. When the wars were on, we've got no images of ninja to date. We have very limited explanations of what they wore or what they were like. We only start getting explanations in the 1560s. So then we find the Edo period, which is 1600s onwards, and we then find that we getting descriptions of the ninja and etc, etc. And here you'll see he's got a white headband. Now this is a little bit, I've tried to push too many things into the image here, asking the artist to do it, because the white headband would give him away. But ninja did wear white headbands to signal to their friends. I can't remember. I did ask the artist to change it to red, but I assume he'll probably do that in the end of this video. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. But let's see if the artist has done it. And you'll notice in the background, by the way, that the lamp that the guy's carrying changes. That is just a normal lantern, and he gets changes to a gando lantern, which we'll talk about there, the gimbal lanterns. But I say you'll see that go. So historically speaking, that ninja there in the foreground is dressed as accurately as we can get him, and he's performing pretty much. I think he's nicking skin tones there, isn't he? Or is he nicking the colour of the dress? I'm not sure. But basically it's about as accurate as we're going to get for a ninja from Edo period documents. But here we are showing a Sengoku period and a warring periods. But we just don't have the recordings of it. But that brings us to the hooded figure. Where does the hooded figure come from? And we just simply don't know. There is nowhere that it just says Shinobi no Mono as this, classic ninja figure. But we do know that that classic figure existed, and at some point in the Edo period was called shinobi. But there are a couple of images of it. But it doesn't mean, shinobi doesn't always mean ninja like you're thinking of ninja, guys. Sometimes shinobi just means infiltrate, like thief. So the ninja themselves were probably least like the classic ninja image, and thieves, Nusabito, were like the classic ninja image. That's the problem with the word ninja. They all sometimes use the word shinobi, but they're sometimes used as a noun, sometimes used as a verb, etc, etc. And here the artist has done basically the classic Ashigaru, and they're looking for him. This ninja is going to have done something, and they're now looking for him. Now, the other aspect is, I always find that weird when artists can just flip it in digital art. They just flip the drawing around. It's weird, that. Now, the other thing that ninja hiding has is basically it always has an element of magic. See, people look for deep things in ninja manuals. They're always looking for something that is a special hiding trick that they can use. But let's be honest, hiding is easy. You just get in the shadows and don't show any shiny bits. Don't show your silhouette and don't show your shape. Yep, so get outside of the silhouette, i.e. don't have anything light behind you. Get in the dark. Don't show your shape. Corrupt your shape with branches or something like that. And stay out of the light. And you're pretty much... They're the 5 S's of camouflage. Or was it shape, shine, silhouette, something, something. That was from a while ago. I used to do that. But what the ninja add is lots of esoteric magic. So, for example, they would charge talismans with spiritual energy. Oh, yeah, he is doing it red. Look, he's doing it red like I asked him to. Because they would swap over to a white headband. So this red headband, right? So this is another one of these magical things. He's doing a magical gesture there, which is, I think the mudra of Ho. I think. I'll have to remember, go back to my notes on that one. But... this headband he's got there, which is not from the Bansenshukai. This is probably Fukushima Ryu, I think. Again, I'm going from memory, guys. But you would get or it could be Iga and Koka skills. What you find is that they dry the eyes of something nocturnal, an owl, a rat, a dog, etc. And something that, will prowl at night. And they dry them in the shade. They then possibly thread them together on horsehair, but then dip them in mercury and then wrap them up in a red headband and wear them, or tie a pouch to their head and move in like that, probably rolled up in a headband, something like that. So inside of that headband he'd have secret powders, and then he's got the mudra of, I think, Ho, but please don't correct me, don't quote me on that. And then he's speaking into it the words of hiding. And this type of thing is what the ninja would really do to sort of confirm their hiding. Then, of course, try to avoid their breath being seen and try to avoid their face being shown to the enemy, and they have to stay very still. One of the things it says in the manuals is that you'll be tempted to move because they're getting close to you, but actually the chances of them seeing you in the pitch black are nigh on impossible. And if you've ever done this, guys, and I've done it, I've experimented it, the lamps come out, and you know, it's so hard to see past a lamp at night. You have to have it on a stick, and you have to have it on a spear to move around. Otherwise, you just killed your night vision, bizarrely. Having a light at night kills your night vision. So what the old shinobi tended to do was have like white on them so they could see where they were going. One of the teachings in Natori Ryu, which is the book of samurai, they actually teach to tie white to your feet so that you can see your feet move in the dark and it shines off the starlight and those types of things. Right, okay. Right, where are we? Okay, yeah, now he's starting to do the chonmage, so which is the top knots and all that sort of stuff, and he's trying to get the correct shadings in. I remember that. I've seen that picture before. But what can we say? Right, so we have this ninja here hiding, and he is trying to stay out of the light. But the people who are trying to get him would be aiming their light. Now, we know we definitely have documents which say you should tie torches. By torches, I mean actual flaming torches, like medieval torches. That's the flame will go up and you tie them to your spear, most likely on the upper side because you don't want it to burn your spear and the flame goes up. Or you can use what's called a gando lantern. Now, halfway through this image, the artist came to me and said, oh, you know, shall I use a gando lantern or the normal lantern? I said, well, probably a gando lantern. Now, a gando lantern is something that's on gimbals. Now, if you don't know what gimbals in, that's 3 concentric rings which attach together with rivets which can spin. So no matter where you hold or which way you hold it up, the light of the candle always goes upwards. Not the light, the flame of the candle always goes upwards, so it can't be extinguished or drip all the candle everywhere. It stays up, which means you can move it around and shake it around, and the candle will always stay vertical. Okay, it will always stay vertical. So soon he's going to change that lantern, I think, to that. Looking quite good now, isn't it? We're looking all right there. Now you can see the shine on the shinobi's head. This brings us to one more thing, which was in the Shoninki manual, and it says that you should get rid of the shine on your body. But the problem is the word for body is also the same word using for the body of your sword, i.e. naked blade. So we don't know whether the ink is on your body, i.e. your face, but probably it would say face because you're very rarely going to use the word body for your face, your human body. You would say face, but probably the ink goes on the body of the sword, the naked sword. So it is a bit of a difficult one, that, and we have to do it, we have to guess at it, you know, an estimation or a guesstimation, if you like. You know, there's proper thing, you know, the proper research gone into it, but there's a point where you have to make a call. So now he's doing the ashigaru. Now, for me, ashigaru are always portrayed in this way, but it seems to me that the ashigaru with those types of hats were not universal at the time, or I think they're a later Edo period thing. Again, it's one of those questions I really want to answer, is when did the typical jingata, which is basically battle hat, which they're wearing then, become a real thing? When did that become a real thing? And as opposed to, not a real thing because it's been a real thing for many, but a standardized thing. And you also get samurai jingata, which are slightly curved in a different way, and you can tell one is a samurai and you can tell one is ashigaru. But you know, they're the questions we've got to do, and we've got a few decades to do it in. But what I really need is a list of questions, maybe a book of questions or something like that I can keep going. I'm not sure. So let's see how he deals. If he's not changed the light, but let's see how he deals with the light once he changes it to gando, because the gando lantern pushes light out in a certain way. Now, the ninja here will have committed some crazy act. And the ninja would have committed some crazy act, so they will be out searching for him. And the simple fact is he would be killed. So as much as we all think ninjas are super cool and they leap up and down and they, you know, jump around, actually, these guys will just murder him. There's lots of them. They're on patrol. They've got the long spears. He can't really carry long spears. They can come in groups and all that. So it is a little bit, the lone ninja has to be in a really, really difficult position. it's really hard for him to sort of get away, because people are, remember, he's not on a motorbike, he's not on a bicycle, he's not got a helicopter out of there, he's just on foot, and that's the same amount of oh, I like that kimono, or is it a jinbei? Basically a relaxed cotton kimono, I'm not quite sure, but basically you would have sorry, I've lost my train of thought now with that cool thing there. So anyway, let's get back to it. So the ninja would now be on foot, and he would try to escape. Now the Bansenshukai tells us that actually when they escape, they would use firecrackers, things like that. And what we do know is, going back into earlier times, a lot of the times ninja used half shoes. So these were like, imagine a flip-flop but cut in half, not down the center, across the, how was I going to say, across the middle, so only the front bit exists, and then you could sort of run on these half shoes, and they were normally extra strong material. So you would make them out of really, really strong plants that had been doused in liquids and everything to give them a really hard stuff. This was partly to stop caltrops, but mainly because they had so much work, you know, so much traveling to do in them. And we know that the ninja had spells to get rid of snake bites, to get rid of blisters and things like that, and different ointments that they would use. So the ninja probably wouldn't, for the majority of the time, wear tabi. But again, this is a difficult one, because we know sometimes they wore leather tabi. So, and the question of white cotton tabi, when did they exist, is never really been solved for me. I've heard that it was invented for the tea ceremony, things like that, you know, so like it's cotton, it's clean. You're not going to keep your white cotton tabi clean out on the dusty roads of Japan or the winter roads, so you'd wear leather ones. So you always see in these films everybody's walking around in white tabi, and I've got the question is, when did they start doing that? Because the white tabi possibly were invented later, because cotton was brought about later. Actually, cotton was imported to Japan quite late, and some theories, I've been listening to I think David Lowery and his In the Dojo book, and I believe that he thinks the cotton came quite late and changed the aesthetics of Japan over. So that's a possibility. So while this is historically accurate, we could fine tune it more, in the sense that you know, what tabi do they wear? What sort of stuff do they actually do? Again, I'm still waiting for him to change this lantern into gando lantern, because he actually did message me and ask. So I'm sure I've seen it changed, but never mind if not, you know. Now you've seen my art on here as well, guys. The reason this artist came to me is because he was talking to me about my art, which I put up there, and Medieval Knight I did. And he literally was saying, oh, you know, I'll do some art and everything. I asked him to do some art for this channel, and he said, yep. So please, guys, do go along and have a look at him and see if there's any of his social medias present and everything. Let's try and get it done. That would be nice. Let's get it across. Let's get the world to know about the historical shinobi and all these bits. So we're not far off the end of the video now, guys. Oh, there he goes. The gando lantern has gone. Right, let's have a look. So now he's got to change all the highlights, probably because I've said we'll use a gando lantern. I'm assuming. Oh, changing the face and everything. Okay, I see what he's doing there. Right, all right. So them lights should now all change as well, probably. But this is the gando lantern. Imagine a tube. Well, you don't have to imagine it. There it is. It's pretty much a tube. And you've got a handle, and the candle. Ah, yeah, he's taken all the shadows off it. Perfect. Yep, I see what he's doing. Yep, so you can see that guy's now. But that, oh, I thought he'd have kept him on him, unless he's going to specifically, yeah, do it on just the bits. I see what he's doing. Right, guys, we're coming to the end of the video, but as you can see, he's just correcting the gando lantern. This is the most historical version of the shinobi we've got at the minute, who is being chased and therefore is hiding. So, which, you know, I love this. If there's any artists out there who want to do this with me, please, there you go, there's the gimbal rings. There's the gimbal rings with the candle. Can you see the gimbal rings and the candle? If there's any artists out there who want to do this with me, and I will give you something to draw, and then we will basically do a video like this on it. So please, guys, follow the artist. All the links are in the descriptions and everything below. So I'm looking forward to your comments on this video. Now you can, again, buy me a coffee, links below. That really helps, guys. Or you can just get one of my books, Antony Cummins, on Amazon, and leave a review on my books. That really helps. And of course, follow the artist. Now, thank you very much for staying. This is 19 minutes, 48 seconds long. So you've been here nearly 20 minutes, and he's coming to the end of it now, guys. guy, so let's see what he does. Let me know what you think below, and thank you very much for watching.